I have been wanting to do an update on my Rupicolous Cattleyas for quite some time, but apart from some decline visuals on some, others were not behaving in such an interesting way that would make for an interesting update. But here we are. My little staging area has a few gaps in it, and that is because I have several actually doing something other than decline. So welcome to the patio. Let me show you what one of my favorite group of orchids are up to. We will start with the bad. My once thriving crispilabia suddenly took a turn for the worse, and now it's really bad. The tiny scale that has been plaguing my patio throughout 2024 have unfortunately attacked this orchid. Looking at the state of it, you would think that it was neglected in the corner of the patio somewhere, totally forgotten. Nope, none of that could be further from the truth. I have my eyes on this group of orchids on the daily because I am totally charmed by them. Well, here we are. She bloomed for us in January of 2024, and I thought we were good to go and grow. Now she is in full rescue mode, and I am fighting for this single growth to make it, seeing as 3 other previous growths have failed right at the base of the pseudobulbs. While she looks to have some scale on her, I am confident that none of them are alive. I am all over this orchid and pedantic about keeping her as protected as possible with my garlic-infused alcohol, always within easy reach for immediate intervention as and where possibly needed. So I am not pleased about this decline at all. And here is another struggling one. But if you think this looks bad, trust me, she looked so much worse since arriving on the patio in 2021. Finally, 3 years later, she is picking up and plumping up. The second attempt at a new growth was successful, and thankfully the limited roots she grew are absorbing water, and it is clear to see how the leaf that is wired to the support has plumped up since it was wired to the support. She is by no means out of the woods, but considering she did nothing but sulk for 3 years, this is the best action I have seen from her in all these years. Tiny scale? They are trying. But then again, so is this orchid, and so am I. I hope the two of us will be victorious in the end. On the decline, this is ups and downs. Anyway, we're on a downer here. This is my Cattleya reginae. She was doing really well for years until she wasn't. In 2024, I was gutted to see her starting to decline, and I could not figure out why. She lost back structures very fast, had a gentle repot to reposition her in the pot, give her a fresh start, but this is not looking good at all. She did have a little trace of scale, but that was dealt with, and it is not as reoccurring as with the crispilabia. And unfortunately, I'm not sure that the tiny growth will stand a chance because it is not the right time of year for her to be growing any new growths. This is clearly a sign she is doing this in order to survive, but yeah, I shall keep trying and living in hope. Similar situation with my itambana. For several years, she was chugging along slowly, not growing fast, but certainly showing signs of establishing herself, and then enter 2024. And it would appear that she is not inclined to stay on the patio. While one piece looks promising, the other really does not. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed, and once again, all eyes are on her as well. If I can just get that one piece to make it, I would be very, very happy. Well, this is depressing. So let us have a little something nice to look at while I interrupt the update to ask you to please give this video a thumbs up, despite what you have seen up until now. Save the best for last, right? Yep, that is what I'm doing. Also, would you please subscribe to the channel? That support would really mean a lot to me as well, and I cannot thank you enough for doing so. So, ready to leave this wonderful visual? I hope so, because I have some exciting developments coming up next. Let me show you my Cattleya Bahiensis and tell you what I did when I changed her location from under the portico to this winter location. First of all, the obvious. The latest new growth stunned me. I think that is an overachiever and I love it. Anyway, this growth had its first sheath for the orchid ever. And I told myself over and over again, do not cut it just to tidy the orchid. It can stay. All the while under the portico, I told myself, do not remove the sheath. And well, you see, there is no sheath. When I moved this orchid to be exposed to the elements, I cut the sheath and totally forgot that it is possible for a spike to grow in it at a later stage. I was so mad at myself. And for several months afterwards, when I looked at her, I was always mad at myself until I filmed this footage. I think we got away with my mishap because that little green thing is growing. I thought I had chopped it off when I cut the sheath, but it was so small I wasn't sure. And then I told myself, the damage is done, leave that area alone, stop picking to find out if my mistake did in actual fact remove a tiny spike in its early stages of development. Just accept the error and don't do it again. Well, unless my eyes fail me, a spike could be growing. But as this spike would form within a sheath during the first stages of growth, I'm not sure if we are going to have blooms. Trust though, I will do my best to protect this if indeed a spike is growing. Another beautiful development is my alvarenguensis. She skipped blooming for us this year after blooming for the first time in 2023. She took a full year to start another new growth, which is now in spike. These spring blooming Rupicolus Cattleyas have such long spikes, and as excited as I am to see this one coming into bloom again, it's also an anxious time because so much can go wrong with elbows or wild birdies nipping at things. But even if there is an accident and we don't get to see her darling baby pink blooms again, I'm so glad that she is doing well. I am now also interested to see if taking a rest from growing a new growth for a whole year is standard, or if we will get her to grow another growth in 2025 after she finishes blooming. It's a wonderful opportunity to get to know this orchid just a little bit more, which is something I do not need to do with my harpophylla. Unless she proves me wrong, she will bloom for us again late winter, early spring. If she doesn't bloom, then I'm going to justify that with she grew 3 new growths in 2024. The 2 latest ones are secondary new growths after her first growth matured as per her usual timing. I doubt very much we will see blooms on these 2 new growths. They are not growing as fast as they would if the temperatures were a little warmer with more light. But after her uppot of this orchid, I have no reason to be alarmed about her progress. And the one sheath does feel a little expanded at the base, so knock on wood, we shall have ourselves some harpophylla blooms in a couple of months to enjoy. I highly recommend that you stay tuned. Now, I'm not featuring my sanguiloba 2.0 because of a miracle spike, but we have not seen her in a very long time. So, as she is in the process of growing another new growth within a 12-month calendar year, and because I have not featured her, well, here she is. And 2.0, you ask? Yes. Unfortunately, my OG sanguiloba became a snack for a puppy that arrived new to the patio back in 2020. So back then it was immediately replaced with this one, which arrived in a very pathetic state. She doesn't look too pathetic now though. She gets preventative scale treatment. So me and my paintbrush are not doing this because she is currently under threat. But having seen what this tiny scale can do to some of my littles, everybody always gets preventative treatment when I have a close look at them, as in take them off the shelf and scrutinize them carefully. Thankfully, no sign of scale on her. Now back on the patio with a spike again is Cattleya endsfelzii. She skipped blooming in 2023, but did not skip growing throughout the past 24 months. Phew! I cannot describe my relief because she took to her semi-hydroponic setup straight away and bloomed within a year of arriving on the patio. But then, yikes and panic stations. We had a big uh-oh moment in 2022, and for that reason she was potted up and looked like a shashlik for the longest time. But thankfully she did not collapse entirely, and well, there has been progress since this rescue mission. And here we are, fast forward to December 2024. I spy with my little eye another blooming in our future, bar any mistakes, of course. Fingers crossed, it would be nice. But if not, then the new growth she is working on now is going to be fun to watch mature. It's so nice to have Plan B in the works, and even nicer to have this orchid doing well again. The mantiqueirae was a struggle bus orchid from the moment she arrived on the patio. I always approach these orchid fragments with a lot of TLC, and as we have seen previously, they can pull through but at any given moment they can collapse as well. So to have this one bloom for us for the first time early this year definitely was a cartwheels around the patio moment. For sure. However, she's going to do it again. Well, at least she wants to. So once again, I hope that I can keep her safe as well so that we can see the amazing fire orange blooms very, very soon. As in, let's qualify that painstakingly slow, possibly 2 months. And if you are still with me, thank you. Cattleya crispata was also in bloom earlier this year and has been exceptionally busy throughout the entire year. She matured 2 new growths, both of which are in sheath, and both sheaths are filled with a spike. That would be a first for this orchid, to bloom with 2 spikes. However, when I say she was busy, I should change the tense to present tense as well. She was busy, but she is still busy because she is in the process of growing yet another new growth. Methinks that we can say that crispata has activated beast mode, and I love it. I get to share some amazing news based on the fragment of orchid in this image. Fast forward, this is Cattleya Milleri. Take a moment to compare the status of this orchid from when she arrived to now. Isn't this crazy? And can you see what I see? Maybe a bit difficult with a green hedge as a background, but she is in spike. I am floored. Happy, but on the floor happy. We had next to nothing to work with when she arrived. She then also had a thrips attack in the early phase of her first new growth with me. That is the yellowing leaf that you see in the footage on the right. Thankfully, it took almost 2 years for that leaf to start to drop because it could still photosynthesize despite the thrips damage. Much needed energy at that time. I am so happy that we got past that and that we're now at this stage. I cannot tell you how excited I am. I feel as though I should make a chicken wire cage so that nothing happens to this spike. I'm well pleased. Well pleased. So here they are, all lined up again, at least the ones that I feel should be able to handle the elements as they happen, as they come and go. I hope that you enjoyed the update. Thank you so very much for watching, especially for watching the whole video. I truly appreciate you and get to wish you a beautiful day. On the condition though, please that you stay safe. Take care. Bye.